All right, I'm Dr. Frank Cadle with the Get Fit and Be Lean program, and I really want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. It looks like we already got more than 100 people on the TikTok live stream, so that's really the one I focus on the most. It's where I've published most of my videos showing my exercise and nutritional and fitness program. I'm Dr. Frank Cadle with the Get Fit and Be Lean program that I use to lose over 20% of my body weight in 2021. Hello, and yes, I can see comments, but I'm not going to follow them too closely. But I do want to thank everybody who comes by, and I really want to thank my YouTube subscribers. I've gotten over 100 subscribers on my YouTube channel since joining it really just a few months ago with new videos. But I do want to talk to you about the Get Fit and Be Lean program. I lost more than 20% of my body weight in 2021. There's a graph. I lost more than 5 inches off my waist. I lowered my cholesterol by more than 20 points. I lowered my systolic blood pressure by more than 20 millimeters of mercury, lowered my resting heart rate by 30 beats a minute. I did all of this without any medication or surgeries. In fact, I was able to get off of my reflux heartburn medicine. And so I avoided a lot of the risks and complications that can occur with medication or surgery for weight loss. And I really want to try and carry this message to other people because I used no supplements. I bought no equipment. There was no enrollment, no subscription, no membership. And yet I've been able to really make a change in how I look and how I feel. And I'm hoping to continue to carry a message here, both on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and as well as the other platforms that come up, because I want to try and be flexible and reach a large crowd. So this week we're talking about dietary fats, and this is in response to very old and dear friend of mine who follows me quite closely on Instagram. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference between the types of fats. I tried to do this last week, but apparently my internet provider was having some problems. I guess they had a shutdown or something. And so when we talk about fats, the first thing to understand is the difference between the saturated and unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats do not have a hydrogen molecule on every available bond. And one thing that's done in food processing is they will partially hydrogenate oils in order to make them solid at room temperature and more flexible for the use in manufacturing of foods and sold as margarine and other types of over-the-counter nutritional supplies. All right, let's skip that part. And sciatica is horrible. I don't really make sure you don't wear your wallet in the pocket on the side where you have the sciatica. But fats have really gone through this kind of cyclic demonization and then laudation where they just are the best things in the world. And as you know, if you followed me at all, I really try to preach a lot of moderation and all things in their place. So I'm not going to come on here and demonize fats. I have published a number of articles that I've found in the peer-reviewed literature on my Twitter account. And you can go back and look at those. Most importantly for me, high-fat dietary intake tends to correlate pretty closely with obesity and elevated BMI. So for me, the keto, the carnivore, all those guys that are really saying fat is the cure for everything that ails you, I just don't agree with that. The literature is pretty clear that saturated fats, in particular, if they make up a large component of your caloric intake, can increase your risk for cardiovascular disease, a number of other problems. So I am not a food demonizer. I love fat. I like bacon. I like cheese. I like burgers. But I think it's important to recognize that it is a high calorie density food. So when we talk about saturated fats from animal sources, or the worst ones, really the ones that are the most inflammatory, are the partially hydrogenated oils. You really want to try and focus on other sources. Plant sources like avocados or various types of legumes may have some fats, and this allows us to get the fat that we want. And what I try to do is avoid hidden fat that's in food that I'm not going to really appreciate. So I'd rather have some butter on my Thomas's English muffin than eat some sort of previously prepared food, commercially available food that has a high fat content that I don't really get to appreciate the dietary enjoyment of it. I'd rather have a steak or some bacon. And so when I focus on things, one thing I haven't really done anywhere in the Get Fit and Be Lean program is eliminate any kind of foods. I do stress the 2 veggie rule: 2 servings of raw or steamed vegetables at lunch and 2 servings at dinner. And what this allows me to do is focus on increasing the bulk intake of my food so that I have a higher degree of satisfaction. And if there's some fat in that meal, if I put a little dressing on my salad, I don't need to worry about it. If I put some cheese on there, or chop up some meat to put in my salad, I like pork salad, chicken salad. But it doesn't become the major component of that meal. And so what that does is allow me to kind of limit the overall caloric intake. Now, you don't hear me talking a lot about calories in, calories out, even though obviously that is a very basic calculation that we need to make if we want to make a difference in our body mass index and our weight. And I want to welcome all you folks on TikTok. Don't have very many folks participating there now, but hopefully we'll get some views on my YouTube channel from my channel subscribers. And the Instagram, sometimes they get a lot, sometimes they don't get very many. I don't really know why. But as far as fats are, they're vital to your diet. You really need some intake of fat. And so the very low fat diets that people were taking to cut down to extremely low body weights, I think that stuff runs the risk of limiting your ability to maintain the fat soluble vitamin levels that you need. And so what I recommend is a widely varied diet that focuses on portion control more than calories in, calories out. Why do I say that? Because your calories in can be difficult to assess, since some people absorb different types of foods differently. This is why people have food intolerance, lactose intolerance, other types of food intolerances. They don't absorb those foods the same as the person right next to them. And so to say that, oh, you had this many calories in, when in fact that may be something that your own personal microbiota, your microbiome doesn't access well, can be really deceptive. And as we know, calories out, I've gone over this before, your body can undergo thermogenic adaptation as a result of either caloric deficits or of extensive exercise, so that you're burning a lower degree of calories at rest. And you're not going to match that with a workout, no matter how intense it is. So these are things that are beyond our control, but they're not beyond our ability to assess and interpret. And so what we can do is take a look at what our weight is doing over a period of time and find out that we may need to focus more on the 2 veggie goal and really trying to increase our vegetable intake. We may need to really limit the soda, the chocolate, the high calorie density foods. I don't generally go after carbohydrates. I think they should be a significant component of anybody's dietary intake. Thank you very much for joining, Boysenberry and Carlton. And I really want to thank all my new YouTube subscribers. I broke 100 YouTube subscribers last month, and that was really exciting. But if you have any further questions about dietary fats, please feel free to submit them, and I'll talk more about them. There's really some fascinating research that's been done on fish oils. People looked at diets that were high in fish content, seafood, and found that cardiovascular risks were lower with those folks. And so this is where you started seeing fish oil pills. Well, it turns out that the fish oil that's commercially available in nutritional supplements is a combination fish oil that contains two different types, one of which is apparently pretty inflammatogenic. It can cause some inflammation, that kind of precursor to cardiovascular disease, so much so that it actually will eliminate the cardiovascular benefit of the other fish oil components, the ECA, I think it's called EPA. And so the anatomic location of the fat in your body is not something that you can control. Your body will lay down fat where it needs to. Now, there has been some indication that hormonal stress response can, in some cases, dictate a bigger increase in what we call adiposity of the gut. And looks like we lost Twitter. Sorry, folks. But I think that trying to say that then if you meditate or, work on your stress levels, when you lose weight, you're going to lose that weight first. I don't think that's a leap that you can make logically. I think that's kind of limited. So 100,000, I'm hoping to make 100,000 followers at some point. And right now I'm stuck at 75, and I am deep in the shadow ban territory of TikTok. So help me out, folks, and like and comment and engage and forward. Do whatever you can, because boy, once these algorithms make a decision about what niche you're supposed to be in and how many people are supposed to see your videos, there ain't nothing you can do about it. I got 75,000 followers, but they don't show even 10% of those people my typical videos. All right. So, I don't usually make these things too long, in part because I get pretty frustrated with the technology of it, but also because I think everybody's got kind of a limited ability to really digest a lot of these more complex biochemical components of nutrition. But I do like to touch base with my audience and let them know that I'm here, I'm listening, I'm looking for your questions. I'm willing to address whatever topics you think might be of benefit to you or other listeners. And I'm excited that I've been able to kind of, when I started this, there was no guarantees. I couldn't ensure that I would be able to lose 20% of my body weight and drop 5 inches off my waist. But it's really not been all that difficult using the steps that I laid out before I started, with simple calisthenics that you can do anywhere. You can adjust to your own abilities. You can do them without any equipment, enrollment, subscription, membership. You don't have to travel. And if you start, you can start really slow. I mean, when I started, I could do maybe 4 or 5 push-ups, half a dozen sit-ups, and maybe 10 or 15 jumping jacks. And then I got to the point where my workout was so long, it was taking me, an hour just to do the whole workout. And so I'm looking now at trying to do some things that are a little more efficient from a time standpoint. And I'll get that stuff up on the video once I'm started. I'm doing some major walks in the morning now. I got a new dog, and he's a border collie, and he's just psychopathic if he doesn't get a very long AM walk. So that's really about all I have time for with the spare time right now. But I will be getting some more workouts out there. I really appreciate all the encouragement. I really appreciate the engagement. I appreciate you folks watching the videos. I hope everybody will go check out my Twitter account. I put articles on there that are much more scientifically oriented. I was doing popular articles for a while, but I'm not sure that everybody's using the links to get to my publicly available PubMed bibliography, where I list all those articles that I've used as the foundation of the Get Fit and Be Lean program. So I really want to thank everybody for coming by tonight, and it's always great to get some engagement. And that's a really weird question. I'm not on the spectrum that I'm aware of, but I've never been professionally tested. And I'm hoping to do some more impromptu lives, and I'll probably spread them out among Instagram and TikTok. I don't know if YouTube's really a good platform for that, but I'll have to check it out. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and I really appreciate you coming by.